We had hoped that we had the matter resolved as it pertains to the Old Town projects. And apparently, we didn't know this until a week ago Thursday, there has been some changes. And in good faith, we took your word, more specifically about trying to save some of the trees along Railroad Boulevard. Now, I'm here to ask you 3 questions. Do you realize that it seems, because we've asked, that the certifications having to do with historical restoration, education, and training are not with these employees or contractors? If you have that, let's generate those, please. There seems to be a problem, and somehow it's been crisscrossed. It seems to us, those of us that have lived in the area for decades, that the names of some of the trees and also their conditions have been inferred, crisscrossed, somehow changed. What we know to be those lovely California pepper trees, those have been there for 50, 75, 100 years, along with the gracious sycamores and our majestic, lovely oaks. Now, we asked earlier if we could please compromise, and you said that the staff should try. So we're kind of wondering how, when almonds are on a tree, it gets classified to be a non-nut tree. And it seemed rather simple to us. However, it's a serious problem, and I hope that you would do your utmost to see what we can do to rectify this. May we also ask that we have a bird and a tree report on the next area, down Grove Street, and of course Kent, hopefully by some different company. Because secondly, we have found out that apparently the company that would benefit from removal of the trees are also the same person or companies thereof that are coming out to do the inspection report. Many of these individuals have new business bonuses. And there's a question too about staff bonuses that have come to rise. And so in lieu of that, so it doesn't look like there is an interest conflict, could we please have either a specialist come out who is disassociated with some of these current companies, and also ones that are particularly trained in the historic. This relies to the, I did over 20 hours of research. Mr. Murphy wanted the specifics, so I gave him the specifics. But this relates to Title 54. There's also documentation in 24 and 42. In concurrence with the, the Hudson Valley, Georgetown, Comstock, all these are findings. And the third thing we were hoping that we might be able to have you understand how important this is. So when you look at the backyards over there, you're going to have these new places look into the backyards of the old. This is starting to look like Hunter's Point. You have concrete, cement, concrete, and more concrete. Those trees act as a buffer. There's over 20,000 gallons of fresh air a day produced by those trees. Where are the mufflers? Where are the hedges? And also the shade that's produced. It's compounded in the formulas, but we don't see anything like that. And we're very concerned that you're running the city. You gave us that your word, and also we have a responsibility to the rest of the United States. When you travel, if you've ever been to Springfield, Illinois, and same for there. So when people come here, this is our history, and we need to follow the federal laws, and those are the guidelines which take precedent over any local codes. So we appreciate it. We're more than happy to go through the documents with you, especially looking at the larger plans. And by the way, apparently the larger plans were not available for the Historic Preservation Committee because they asked me to send what I had through someone. Thank you. I just wanted to show you that. Thank you.
Excessively. So why don't we do this? Who on staff have you been talking to? Because I believe I received a call from your mom. Is that correct?
Yes, and did you receive my paperwork as back?
I did, yeah.
Excellent.
But, what I'm interested in is who you're talking
Well,
about.
we really like to make some compromises, and we really like to be working
Okay, I
with you
think
and our
that it might be a
representatives.
good idea to take this offline. Jason, can you direct staff to have a conversation?
It's not the conversation, sir. We need to correct the paperwork, and we need to see that the goals of the overall community, the goals of the country.
Sure, I understand
are looked
that,
at.
but
Thank
everything
you so
starts
much,
with a
Mr.
conversation. So my point here is, if we're not talking, and obviously these are very detailed things that you want to see done, but I think that it would make better sense if we direct staff and have a conversation with you so that we have a
Can
direction.
you direct
Yep.
staff to follow the
Yeah,
guidelines of the
Jason,
federal
do you have
government, then,
anyone
please?
that could talk to her? Yeah, our city manager will handle that. So, all right, thank you. Appreciate it. And
And do we have work for a different company to come out and look at Kent? And, if you have an accounting department, you have an auditing
so
department, too.
why don't we do this?
So who's doing the checks and balances? How many other mistakes have been made on this project?
Right,
It's
the
very
city
critical.
council can't act on anything that's being brought up. The only thing is we can direct staff to address it with you, and then in the event that it's necessary for us to bring it to council, we could do that. But
That would be fine.
but thank you,
I
ma'am.
look forward to a
Appreciate it.
pleasure in hearing from you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Mr.
you.
Lee.
Our last speaker is Sandra Morales.